Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of October 1st, 2018. We're very behind, but we're getting caught up. We start off this week with Black Clover 175, the Silvas Battle. There were some fun moments this chapter. Yami forgetting who Zora was, getting to see Zora head off alone and go like, yeah, no, hey, we're in a bad spot here, and we got to do something about it, so I'm just going to go and fix this. I thought that was really cool, him just going off on his own to try and solve the problem. And I also really liked Nozzle and Noelle finally teaming up for the first time. Nozzle like recognizing her and being like, okay, let's do this. We don't really get to see that pay off until next chapter, but it was pretty cool setup, so I thought that was pretty fun. After that, we had the Promised Neverland 105 Illusion. Forgot I need to switch the stills here. Getting to see Yugo and Ray both going, no, something is not right here at all. This is very wrong. And getting to see our first deaths in a very long time. They had an amazing streak of keeping everybody alive. It's been basically since Luvis killed the siblings of that one kid whose name I can't remember right now. It's been since that, basically, since someone has died. They've been able to keep just about everybody alive since then. And that's crazy. But that's ended now, as two of our nameless guys that came with Lucas are dead. You can tell that they came with Lucas because they don't have numbers on their throat. Curious about that. The shock of their deaths is immediate. Emma has this haunted look on her face, and everybody galvanizes, getting ready to fight. But there's this really good moment where Emma just goes, wait, no, you're another human being just like we are. We can talk about this. We're going to go to the Seven Walls. We're going to make a promise. And Andrew just goes, oh yeah, more reason to kill you then, and throws gas into the pipe. And man, what a chapter. Like Emma just appealing to Andrew's sense of morality and going like, we're both humans here. Let's talk this out. We want to fix this. We don't want to mess with you guys. We want to just do this our way. And Andrew's like, oh no, we have to stop you then. Like, can't reason with this guy. You're going to have to fight. After that, we had One Piece 919, The Ruins of Oden Castle. Zoro still really wants that sword. And he's figured out that Kiku may not be quite everything she says she is. There's also some really fun moments here with like the kids being taught that Oden was the bad guy, so that Orochi is the good guy. And then, of course, you know, we know that Oden wasn't the bad guy because, you know, Momo told us that Oden was a great guy. But the timelines are also starting to get a little weird. Because the kids are talking about Oden like it was a long time ago. But Momo is like a little kid. So we'll see how that pans out. I think that might have something to do with, at the end of this chapter, when they run into Kinemon, and Kinemon tells them that they crossed through time. Yep. Time travel is now in the One Piece world, and I am down for that. 2 thumbs up for sure. Oh boy. Yeah, this is really good. There's also a fun moment where they mention that 9 shadows overcast the defeat of Orochi. Well, with Jinbei not around right now because he's still helping his old crew escape before he shows up to join the crew proper, there's 9 Straw Hats. Just saying. After that, we had My Hero Academia 200, Clever Commander. Komari's quirk is almost too strong. It's really good. The ability to just quickly grow mushrooms on everything. Were it not for the fact that they fade within like 2 or 3 hours, it would be completely OP. Because we see that she's basically able to grow them all over the place at an incredibly quick range. It's really powerful. And then you have Fukudashi's comic quirk, which is also really powerful. The ability to just like yell out words, sound effects that is, onomatopoeia. And they just become real and like block things off and are super sick. Like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You have like Kendo with her ability to just like increase her hands and stuff. And then in all this, you have this moment where Todoroki is like, no. If they think this is going to be easy, they don't realize that this is where Yaoyorozu Momo really shines. And it felt good to have this moment where Todoroki was just like, no, don't worry. Momo's real good. After that, we had Dr. Stone 76, the final battle. They get the nitric acid so they can make some gunpowder. But before they can do anything, a series of events occurs that are really cool. Ukyo taking the hit for Senku, because he honestly believes that Senku is going to try and get through this without anybody having to die. You have Tsukasa and Hyoga being bosses, just showing up and like, yeah, when the two of us are together, you can't do anything to stop us. Here we go. Let's do it. Without Ukyo, they don't really have a lot of options here. And then Hyoga drops the shoe, or phone as it were, as he throws down the communication device. They're out in the open. It's revealed, the whole scheme. But Senku hasn't given up yet. And there's this good moment where all the warriors step up to try and buy him time. But how can they stand off against Tsukasa and Hyoga, you know? And I'm really excited to see where that goes. Spoilers, I already know where it goes because I read both the issues of Jump that we're behind on. But I'm not going to talk about that here. That's going to be in next week's issue. The chapter ends with one of my favorite things this week, which is a duality between Tsukasa going, what's really going to win is, and Senku going, what's really going to win is, and Tsukasa saying, strength, and Senku saying, science. And I thought that was just really cool, having the two of them mirror each other like that with completely different ideologies that still are going for the same goal in a way, even though Tsukasa's goal is also to kill a bunch of people because he doesn't want them erupting with power. It was a really fun. After that, we had We Never Learn 81. A genius secretly responds with X to their conjectures. This is a fun Yuiga and Sekijo trying to spend time with Ogata chapter and trying to help the other one spend time with Ogata, to the point where they're making excuses about how they have stomach aches and rushing off to the bathroom to try and spend time with, to leave the other one to spend time with Ogata, because Yuiga wants Ogata and Sekijo to become better friends, and Sekijo thinks that Ogata has a crush on Yuiga, which she does, but even Ogata doesn't really realize that yet, and wants to push the two of them together. It's a really fun misdirection. I feel like there could have been some more actual jokes thrown in there, other than just like, I gotta go to the bathroom. But for the most part, it was a lot of fun. We also got to see this professor that was really cool, actually. When he caught Ogata sleeping in the class, he was just like, I mean, yeah, you can sleep as much as you want. You can play around as much as you want, as long as you know your stuff. And so then he like challenges her, and she meets it immediately. And then he's like, hey, no, for real, come to my class. We'll get you signed up today. I'll sign some paperwork. What do you need? You coming to this college, right? Come on now. Let's get all the paperwork signed out. I was like, man, I like this guy. This guy could stick around. Then Ogata gets drunk on fumes from a cookout. And the joke is supposed to be she's such a lightweight that even the fumes got her drunk. But like, oh no. Green screen, what have I done? But like, sure, I guess. I cooked with alcohol when I was a bistro chef. Never really had any problems with it, but I guess that's the joke, is she's such a lightweight that even that does it. The reason it doesn't really work for me, though, is that nothing really from that moves forward the plot. It's basically just her going, I wanted to spend time with both of you because we're friends. And then both being like, oh, we're so sorry. And the gag is supposed to be Ogata then falls asleep and Sekijo then begins undressing. But that doesn't, neither of that also moves the story forward. You know, it's sold for kind of a quick gag real quick that didn't really flow right with the rest of the chapter. I don't know. Also, though, it was a fun chapter for the most part. After that, we had I'm from Japan, number 3, Japan Grand Prix in Shizuoka. Man, this chapter just, I don't even know. It made me like the series even more, but man, if it's not weird. So, there's this kid from Shizuoka who has a bike, and Masaru crushes it because Masaru's the bad guy. And then Japan makes him the S1-Z1300 OKR, a bike that looks really weird that's powered by love for your hometown. And there's some fun gags that come from this, where basically Mochizuki starts chugging Shizuoka tea to increase his love for his hometown to make the bike go faster, but he's already winning. And then he starts squirting tangerine juice into his eyes so that they burn, so that it burns like the heat of love for his hometown, which only makes him have to pull over because he can't see. And it's just like, okay. But then the second half of this chapter just goes completely off the deep end in such a cool way, where like Japan goes, all right, I gotta win this for Mochizuki because he's losing. I'm going to use a secret fixture art to turn myself into Jirocho. If you've never heard of the Legend of Jirocho, one of the first Japanese movies that I saw as a child was Shimizu Minato wo Oni Yori Kouai, which is Shimizu Harbor is scarier than demons, which is about the Legend of Jirocho, who is basically Japanese Robin Hood, to really just boil it down. There's a lot more in there, but to really just boil it down. And so then, while Japan is riding this bike, which by the way has transformed into a really sick motor, like, sports bike, he is dressed as Jirocho, is gunning forward, and uses the phrase Shimizu Harbor is scarier than demons, which gives him enough love for Shizuoka that he's able to win the race. And then he builds a bunch of weird motorcycles for everybody. And one of them is a motorcycle that is on two wheels and is completely vertical, and there are two guys attached to it, and they're just spinning. And I laughed really, really hard at that. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, it's real good. I like it a lot, but it's also super weird in a way that I don't know how I feel, you know? So, I'm excited to read more of this. It's not going to be in Jump anymore, unfortunately. But I'm excited to read more of it anyway, because, man, it's something. And, like, what a weird callback, right? But it really hit home for me. And I'm sure it hit home for a lot of other people as well. So, a lot of fun. After that, we had Food Wars 281. The Blue. I think we all knew it was eventually going to move on to the world stage. And I like that we're moving past a lot of the romance drama that we got into and onto the world stage scene. I think we needed that pretty soon. I think that arc was starting to chug. And the last couple chapters have really turned it back around. There's a fun moment here where Asahi is pretty straightforward about how, like, he's going to challenge Arina to a Shokugeki, and he's going to win, and she's going to marry him. And Arina just immediately is like, well, let's go. And, like, I'm going to beat you. How dare you? You know, let's do this. She's still tied to a chair, but she stands up anyway, because she's like, yeah, I'll beat you, no problem. Let's do this. Which I thought was really, really cool, and really, really hit home. Of, like, that's the way that Arina's character has always been, and we just haven't really seen much of that in the last 5, 6, 10 chapters. But getting to see her just immediately be like, yeah, let's go, I'll beat you right now, go get your knife. While still attached to the chair. She doesn't ask to get released from the chair, she's just like, which way's the kitchen? And he's like, well, no, let's do this on the world stage. I don't want to do it right now. But still, I thought that was really good. And then, of course, the chapter ends with Joichiro showing up. Following that, we had Teenage Renaissance David number 3. David's first time. So, the fun gag of David mistaking etching for etchy. Sure, okay, those words are very similar. Kind of funny. But then the best gag is the moment where, like, Venus goes, David, do you want to try etching with us? And he just immediately, like, spins his head around so fast, it cracks the back of his neck. Which was really, really funny to me. I liked that a lot. Then, of course, you have David, like, having to stop and think about it, and he does the thinking man pose, which is really good. The second half of the chapter, though, is kind of just like, okay, sure, all right. As the angel and devil on his shoulders, like, come to talk to him about how, you know, you shouldn't do this, or you absolutely should do that. But then they come to an agreement where, you know what, we should stop Venus. Our first time should be something special, not in a group environment with a bunch of people. And then David just kills them both and runs in intending to do etchy with Venus, only to realize that it's not etchy at all, and it's etching, and he falls as if he were dead. So, again, fun gags, that's what the series is predicated on, but I actually have really not liked Teenage Renaissance David. A lot of the P humor just didn't do it for me, and I kind of would have liked a bit more time spent on the gags of the actual art itself, or the neck breaking moment where like his neck cracked because he's made of stone. Stuff like that was really good. But the P jokes and like naked Stone David, because that is what the art looked like as the sculpture, and like, sure, okay. But none of that really did it for me, and I don't think I'm gonna continue reading David outside of Jump, because this was the end of the Jumpstart run for it as well. But there were some fun gags throughout the course of the 3 chapters, so I didn't absolutely hate it. I just don't think that I'm gonna come back to it. And then finally for this week we have Hunter x Hunter 382 Awakening. And Hunter x Hunter 382 is chapter of the week, absolutely. Because the thing that happens here is crazy. It's insane. And it's really powerful. And it's where Halkenburg decides he's going to take out his dad. He's going to end this competition. No more of his siblings have to die. He's going to go kill his dad. And he gets to his dad in this really cool moment where, like, over the course of 4 days, they got used to him coming every morning. The guards did. And so on the 4th day, their guns were not raised. They were lowered. And so he did it then. That was what he was waiting for. He gets in there and he fires. But his father's part of the ritual now and cannot die. And so his father's like, Halkenburg, you should realize. And Halkenburg just takes the gun and pulls it on himself. Halkenburg, a man who refuses to kill his siblings or to let them kill each other, then shoots himself in the head. But his Ninbi stops him. And it's just this really powerful moment of Halkenburg being like, all right. And then realizing that he can't die because of that either. And just throwing his gun down and walking away. And then we get to see that Halkenburg, because he's now realized the only way this ends is if the siblings all die, is on the offensive. And his ability is frightening. He can take, like, the soul of one of his people and turn it into an arrow that pierces any defense. And when the arrow pierces a person, if he hits with the arrow, that person's soul that was fired then takes over that body. And I assume that person's ability too, right? But man, what a crazy cool ability. And then we finally see the banquet starts. As we see Sale Sale looks like he's dead without his Nen Beast. So another prince down. Chapter of the week goes to Hunter x Hunter 382. Sorry this all came out so late. We had some issues with internet, with Consolidated. But I'm going to try and get back on schedule. Until next time, I have been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. Jump has to offer.